You and your partner both work full-time, two incomes, and you're making $140,000 combined. That's more than most households in history ever dreamed of. And yet, you're barely scraping by. Here's where the money goes. Daycare. $2,500 per month per child. If you have two kids, that's $5,000, $60,000 per year. After taxes, that's almost an entire salary. Gone. Two strangers raising your children so you can work. But you have to work. Because the mortgage is $3,000, the car payments are $800. The student loans are $600. The groceries, because you're too exhausted to cook, are $1,200. You're earning $140,000 and living paycheck to paycheck. Your kids are spending 10 hours a day with people you barely know. This is the nuclear family trap. You need two incomes to afford the life. But the second income gets entirely consumed by the costs that working creates. Daycare, convenience, food, transportation, outsourced everything because you have no time. You're not raising your children. You're funding a system to raise them for you. And you're doing it while exhausted, stressed, and missing the years you'll never get back. Here's the part they don't say out loud. You're working to pay someone else to do the parenting. The system profits at every level. The daycare center, the meal delivery service, the streaming platform that babysits your kids when they're home, the convenience economy that extracts from you because you're too busy working to do anything yourself. You had kids because you wanted a family. Now you barely see them. They're in daycare from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. You're home by 7, exhausted, you're in bed by 8. You get 1 hour a day with them. 1 hour. And the weekends are spent recovering and running errands. This isn't parenting. It's survival. You're paying $60,000 a year for it. There's an old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. It's not a metaphor, it's history. For most of human existence, children weren't raised by two isolated parents in a suburban house. They were raised by extended families and tight-knit communities, grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors. Everyone participated. A mother didn't raise her child alone. She had her mother nearby, her sisters, her cousins, the village. Children played in the streets under the collective watch of the entire community. Someone was always around, always helping, always present. This wasn't charity, it was structure. Multi-generational living was the default. 3 generations under one roof or in adjacent houses. Childcare wasn't outsourced because it didn't need to be. The village was the childcare. Then came the Industrial Revolution, and the village had to die. Factories needed workers, mobile workers, workers who could relocate for jobs, workers who didn't have ties to land or community. The extended family was dismantled. Deliberately, the nuclear family was invented, not discovered. Invented. 2 parents and their children, isolated in a single-family home, separated from extended family. This was the new model. It was sold as progress, privacy, independence, the American dream. But it was a trap, because 2 people cannot raise children, maintain a home, and work full-time jobs without collapsing. It's not possible. The village wasn't optional, it was necessary. By the mid-20th century, the nuclear family was the norm. And women were told their place was in the home. 1 income, 1 stay-at-home parent. That worked. Barely. The father worked, the mother raised the children, and they lived on 1 salary. Then the economy shifted. 1 income wasn't enough anymore. Housing costs rose. Healthcare became unaffordable. Student debt exploded. The nuclear family model required 2 incomes to survive, so both parents entered the workforce. But the village was already gone. Grandparents lived 500 miles away. Neighbors were strangers. There was no community to help raise the children, so the market stepped in. Daycare centers, after-school programs, babysitters, nannies, a $1 trillion industry built on the destruction of the village. You're not paying for childcare because you're irresponsible. You're paying for it because the system destroyed the structure that made childcare free. The extended family, the village, the community. And now you're trapped. You need 2 incomes to afford the house. But the second income goes to pay for the childcare required to earn the second income. It's a closed loop. And the only people profiting are the corporations extracting from your inability to raise your own children. The nuclear family isn't failing, it was designed to fail. Because a failing family is a profitable family. So what does the system tell you when you realize you're drowning? Find better childcare. Look for cheaper options. Sure, instead of $2,500 per month, you find a place for $1,800. You're still paying $21,600 per year to strangers. You didn't fix the problem. You optimized the trap. Work from home. Get flexible hours. Great. Now you're trying to work full-time while simultaneously watching a toddler. If you're not present for either, you're half working and half parenting and doing both poorly. And your employer is tracking your output, so you're stressed constantly. Ask family for help, right? Your parents are 800 miles away. They have their own lives. Your siblings are in the same trap you're in. There is no village. That's the entire problem. Cut expenses. Downsize your life. Okay? You move to a cheaper suburb. Now you're commuting 2 hours a day and still paying $1,500 per month for daycare. You traded one form of misery for another. The system's solutions aren't designed to free you. They're designed to keep you grinding, keep you paying, keep you too exhausted to realize there's another way. Because the real solution isn't optimizing childcare costs or working from home or cutting expenses. It's leaving the environment where raising children requires a six-figure household income and institutional outsourcing. The nuclear family can't survive in expensive, isolated cities. Structurally impossible. Two people alone cannot work full-time, raise children, and maintain sanity. But the nuclear family can survive in places where the village still exists, where extended family lives nearby, where neighbors help, where communities are tight-knit, where children can play outside safely without supervision. Those places still exist. They're just not in the cities you've been told you need to live in to have a career. Small towns in southern Spain, hill villages in central Italy, coastal Greece, traditional communities in the Balkans, places where multi-generational living is still the norm, where the village, the real village, still exists. Here's what that looks like in practice. You buy a house in a small town in Andalusia or Abruzzo or Crete, 40,000 euros. It's not a mansion. It's a stone house with thick walls, a courtyard, and room for your family. You own it outright. No mortgage. If your parents, if they're willing, move nearby or into the same house. Multi-generational living, not because you're dependent, because it's practical. They help with the children. You help with them as they age. It's mutual. If your parents can't or won't move, the town itself becomes the village. Your neighbors have children. They watch out for each other. The piazza is where children play after school, under the collective watch of the entire community. You don't need to hire strangers to watch your kids. The structure of life provides it. It's your monthly costs, property tax, 200 euros per year, utilities, 80 euros per month, food from the local market, 400 euros per month for a family of 4, internet, 25 euros, total 550 euros per month. That's $600. Daycare costs, 0 euros, because your children aren't in daycare. They're with you or with their grandparents, or playing in the piazza with other kids while you're having coffee 20 feet away. Now let's talk about work. You both don't need to work full-time anymore. Your burn rate is $600 per month. One of you works part-time remotely, 20 hours per week. That generates $3,000 per month. The other stays home, or works even less, or pursues something meaningful that doesn't pay much but brings fulfillment. You're not just cutting costs, you're reclaiming time. The most expensive thing you can give your children isn't toys or private school, it's your presence, your time, your attention. In the city, you had $140,000 and 1 hour per day with your kids. In the village, you have $36,000 and all day, every day, which is wealth. Let's talk about the children's experience. In the city, they were in daycare 10 hours a day. In institutional rooms with fluorescent lights and schedules, screened when they got home because you were too exhausted to engage. In the village, they play outside, in streets that are safe, in piazzas with other children. They learn by doing, not by screens. They're surrounded by multiple generations. They know their grandparents. They watch you cook, work, live. They're integrated into life, not warehoused during it. This is slow parenting, not because you're lazy, because you have time. You're not rushing them through breakfast to drop them at daycare by 7. You're eating breakfast together. You're walking them to school. You're picking them up and spending the afternoon together. The research is unambiguous. Children raised in tight-knit communities with extended family support have better outcomes, lower anxiety, better social skills, stronger emotional health, not because of money or programs, because of presence and community. You're not sacrificing their future by leaving the city. You're giving them their childhood back, and yours. The nuclear family works when it's embedded in a village. It fails when it's isolated. You can't change the structure of modern cities, but you can leave them. The village still exists in places that never industrialized the same way. In places where family and community aren't nostalgic concepts but daily reality, and you can access it right now for less than 1 year of daycare costs. Here's the reality. You're never getting these years back. Your children are only young once, and you're spending those years working to pay someone else to raise them. That's not a moral failing. It's a structural trap. The nuclear family isolated in expensive cities cannot function without outsourcing childcare. The math doesn't work. The time doesn't exist. But the nuclear family, embedded in a village, that works? That's how humans raise children for thousands of years. And it's still available. You don't need $140,000 to raise children well. You need time, presence, and community. All three are cheaper in places where the village still exists. This isn't about giving up your career. It's about realizing that the career isn't worth sacrificing your family for. That the second income funding daycare isn't making you richer. It's making you poorer in every way that matters. Start by calculating. Add up what you're spending on childcare, convenience, food, commuting, and stress management. Then look at what life could cost in a small town in Southern Europe, where your burn rate is $600 per month, and your children are with you, not strangers. Then ask yourself, what's the point of 2 incomes if you never see your kids? What's the point of the house if you're never in it? What's the point of the career if it costs you the only years you'll ever have with your children at this age? The village isn't gone. You just have to go find it. Your children won't remember the bigger house or the better daycare. They'll remember whether you were there, whether you had time, whether you were present. You can have that right now, for less than you're currently spending to not have it. If this changes how you see family and freedom, subscribe. I'm documenting the exits from the isolation economy. Stop outsourcing childhood. Start living it.